Ever wonder what it's really like in those cool science labs you see on TV?
Yeah, like are they all futuristic and sparkling?
Right. Well, today we're taking a deep dive into the world of biology technicians.
Perfect timing. I was just digging into some insights from RoleCatcher about this career path.
Talk about a treasure trove of info. So much more than just like a dry job description.
Totally. They capture the essence of this role when they talk about, get this, the allure of nature's building block.
Oh, I like that. Okay, before we get lost in the building blocks, let's set the scene. What does a biology technician actually do all day?
Okay, so imagine this. You're handed a puzzle, but instead of, cardboard pieces, it's pipettes and microscopes, maybe even DNA sequences.
Whoa, way cooler than a jigsaw puzzle.
Right. And the biology technician, they're the ones putting those pieces together, working with scientists in all sorts of research labs.
So they're like detectives of the natural world.
Exactly. Piecing together clues through experiments. They're the backbone of any biology lab, really.
Okay, so they're running experiments, carefully jotting down data.
Oh, absolutely. Got to make sure those decimal points are in the right place. And then they turn all those numbers into reports that researchers use for, those big breakthroughs.
Speaking of those meticulous lab practices, RoleCatcher seems pretty clear about how important a well-maintained lab is. And I don't think they just mean tidy, right?
No way. Think about it. You could be dealing with a super volatile chemical.
Oh, right, the kind that goes poof if you look at it wrong.
Exactly. One wrong move and boom, the whole experiment's toast. Or worse, it's dangerous. That's why RoleCatcher puts so much emphasis on safety and precision.
It's a high-stakes environment, for sure. Okay, so what about the skills you need to thrive as a biology technician? It's going to be more than just, like, knowing your way around a petri dish.
You're telling me RoleCatcher's big on a strong biology foundation. I mean, it sounds obvious, but you might be analyzing DNA or identifying like microscopic organisms. Makes sense they give biology knowledge an 82% importance rating.
82%. All right, all those hours studying biology weren't for nothing. But what about those other essential skills? What else makes a great biology technician?
Here's where it gets really interesting. They actually emphasize skills that go beyond just, the technical stuff. Critical thinking, really listening to your colleagues, clear communication. It's all crucial.
So you're not just a lone wolf scientist in the lab. You're collaborating, analyzing, like a scientific Sherlock Holmes.
Exactly. You have to be able to communicate your findings to the team, and that means strong listening and communication are just as important as being able to analyze all that data.
That makes a lot of sense. So thinking about the different paths to becoming a biology technician, what does RoleCatcher say about the education you need?
Well, they list biology and biochemistry as the usual suspects. Remember that 82% for biology. But it's not limited to just those. Environmental science, microbiology, even botany and ecology get a mention.
So like one day you could be trekking through a rainforest and the next you're analyzing cell cultures in the lab.
That's the beauty of it. And this diversity in backgrounds actually plays into those different career stages RoleCatcher maps out. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of career path. There are levels and specializations within the field.
Now that is interesting. I always figured you get hired as a biology technician and that's it.
Yeah.
But there's actually room to like climb the ladder.
Oh, there is. And that's what we're going to uncover next.
Mhm.
RoleCatcher outlines everything from entry level all the way up to lead biology technician. And get this, instead of just listing responsibilities, they have these awesome example profiles. You get a real glimpse into the lives of these professionals.
Okay, you've definitely piqued my interest. Let's hear about these different stages and what it takes to, level up in this field. Let's start at the very beginning. What does an entry-level biology technician actually do? Okay, so take us into the lab. What's an entry-level biology technician actually doing day to day?
Okay, picture this. You're fresh out of school, ready to get your hands dirty, like literally, depending on what they're researching.
I can imagine.
So you're learning the ropes, mastering all those super precise lab techniques that RoleCatcher talks about. Think like preparing samples, using all that cool equipment.
Oh yeah, those high-tech toys.
Right. But they take real skill. And then there's, of course, getting comfy with recording and actually understanding what all that data means.
So it's a lot of hands-on experience, learning by doing, right? Maybe with some guidance from the pros.
Exactly. You're like the apprentice in the lab, soaking it all up. And then as you get more confident, more experienced, you move up to that junior biology technician role.
Okay, so what changes when you level up to junior technician? RoleCatcher's example profiles must have some clues.
They totally do. This stage is all about taking on more responsibility, more independence. Like, RoleCatcher's junior technician profile actually mentions doing experiments solo.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're not just taking directions anymore, they're starting to make their own scientific decisions.
That's a pretty big step. Not just doing the experiment, but figuring out what it all means.
You got it. And of course, it's not just like a gut feeling. They're using serious statistical methods to analyze that data, looking for patterns, drawing conclusions, data detectives.
I like that. From apprentice to detective, all in a few years. Okay, but what about that next jump? Senior biology technician that feels like a whole different ballgame.
It really is. This is where things get super interesting. RoleCatcher's senior technician profile talks about things like leading entire research projects, overseeing what's happening in the lab, even designing experiments to answer specific questions. They've gone from just contributing to the science to actually shaping how it's done.
Now that's a leadership role. From carefully following all the rules to actually writing them. But wait, there's one more level, right? Lead biology technician. What's in store for those who reach the top of the mountain?
Think of a lead technician like the conductor of an orchestra. They're managing teams of researchers and technicians, figuring out the overall research strategy.
Wow, so they're conducting the whole scientific symphony?
Exactly. And they might even present their team's big findings at conferences and stuff. It's a pretty incredible journey from like carefully labeling test tubes to presenting on a global stage.
It's amazing how much room for growth there is in this one career path. But let's be real, climbing that ladder probably takes time. What does RoleCatcher say about the average timeline for moving up?
Okay, so this is where it gets kind of interesting. They say that the average biology technician has, get ready for it, 0 years of work experience.
0. Wait, really? How does that even work?
It really shows how important on-the-job training is in this field. Which makes sense if you think about it. The work is so specialized, so hands-on, that you're constantly learning as you go. It's less about how many years you've been doing it and more about showing off those skills, going after those extra credentials that really prove what you can do.
So experience is key,
Yeah.
but it doesn't always have to be years clocked in at a job.
Exactly. And speaking of credentials, RoleCatcher actually highlights a couple of certifications that can really boost your career.
Okay, let's talk certifications. What are these career-boosting credentials they're recommending? Okay, spill the tea. Which certifications are we talking about here?
So RoleCatcher specifically calls out the Certified Laboratory Technician, or CLT, and then there's the Certified Biotechnician, CDT for short.
Yeah, those make a lot of sense. It's like a stamp of approval, right?
Yeah.
It tells everyone you're not just good with the tools, but you really understand the science behind it all.
Exactly. Having those certifications shows potential employers that you're serious about this career path, that you didn't just stop learning after you graduated. You've gone the extra mile to master those skills, and you're all about maintaining those super high standards in the lab.
Love it. It's like leveling up in real life.
Right.
But certifications aside, what about staying ahead of the curve? I mean, biology is changing so fast these days.
You're telling me it's a wild ride, but RoleCatcher emphasizes that continuous learning is key.
Okay, so what does that look like for a biology technician?
Well, think attending those big science conferences where everyone's buzzing about the latest discoveries.
Oh, yeah, those sound cool.
Right. And then there's joining professional organizations, digging into all the latest research in scientific journals, basically never letting that flame of curiosity die out.
Music to my ears. It's about combining that solid foundation with this constant drive to learn and adapt to all the new stuff that's being discovered.
Exactly. You got to stay curious if you want to make it in the ever-changing world of biology.
It's amazing how much has changed even in the last few years.
Mm.
Okay, so let's say someone's hooked on this career path. They're updating their resume, maybe even scheduling those certification exams. What's that last hurdle they got to clear to land their dream biology technician job?
The interview, of course. But luckily for us, RoleCatcher doesn't leave them hanging. They've got a whole section on how to absolutely nail that biology technician interview.
Ooh, let's hear it. What kind of curveballs can an aspiring biology technician expect? Give us a little sneak peek behind that interview curtain.
All right, so instead of just giving you the questions straight up, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. Imagine you're sitting there face to face with the hiring manager.
Okay, I can feel the pressure already.
And they want to know more than just, can you run this test? They want to know how you think on your feet. So, pop quiz. Ready for a question that'll really test your mettle as a potential biology technician.
Hit me with it. I'm ready to prove myself.
All right, here's one that RoleCatcher highlights. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and the people around you in a lab setting?
Ooh, That's a good one. It's not just about knowing the safety rules, but about showing you've got that safety-first mindset in everything you do. I'd probably talk about, like, being super meticulous with labels, always double-checking everything, those kinds of things. And, of course, knowing what to do if there's an emergency.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry, right?
Exactly. It's all about demonstrating that safety isn't just a checklist for you, it's ingrained in everything you do. And the best part is that RoleCatcher actually provides a bunch of these practice questions, and here's the kicker, that give you detailed answers and guidance to help you craft your own responses.
So it's not about memorizing some robotic answers. It's about understanding what's important to emphasize and then showcasing your own experiences.
Exactly. RoleCatcher gives you the tools and resources, but you bring your own unique skills and experiences to the interview.
I love that. This deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from the nitty-gritty of lab work and certifications all the way to the bigger picture impact that biology technicians have on research
Mhm.
and those aha moments.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. The work they do touches every aspect of our lives, from developing new medicines to just understanding how our amazing natural world works.
It really makes you appreciate the power of scientific curiosity. And to our listeners, if you're feeling that spark, remember that RoleCatcher is a treasure trove of information, all for free. Who knows, maybe you'll discover your own passion for science and exploration. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those lab coats sparkling.